Hi, I cannot jump because Ella's right down here. Her head just whipped to look at me. Hi, it's Belinda from Belinda's Book Nook, and today we're going to do a book chat. Um, I meant to do this yesterday. However, we had a blizzard, nor'easter, just record breaking storm yesterday that just um, the storm itself was amazing to watch, but it didn't actually produce the lighting that I would need to do this video because I meant to do this yesterday. But the book comes out today, and I'm releasing this today, so I'm not fully late. I like to try to get it done like a few days before the book comes out. But I did read this as an advanced reader copy, so thank you to the publisher for this because I was excited when I saw the book. I was like, oh, I want to read this book. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. I brought my notes and I brought an image of the book too, so you could see it because I do the e-reader version, so I don't really get a physical book to show you, but I did look it up online so you could see the cover. And like I said, it's out today wherever you buy your books. And this is Where the False Gods Dwell by Denny S. Bryce. She's author of Wild Women, which I do haven't read, Wild Women in the Blues, and The Other Princess. And this is, ooh, is it going to change on me? This is the cover. Is it staying? Yeah. This is the cover of it. It's really pretty. It's a really beautiful book. So that's Where the False Gods Dwell. And so you all know I love to read historical fiction. First, I saw that cover, and that drew me in at first. Then I knew who the author was, so that was like boom, boom. And then it was a historical fiction, so I was like, yeah, we're here. So I requested it and was really happy they allowed me to take a chance to kind of explore what this new release of hers. So let me see if I can find what I had put. Yeah, I knew that this was going to happen. Like, pages are going to change when I go in here. You'll also find a link below to my blog where I might write a little bit more about my thoughts on the book. Overall, I'm just going to tell you, I highly recommend it. A great book. In case you don't want to stick around to hear anything else, because I know that I don't like to hear things about books before I read them. Even if it doesn't produce spoilers, sometimes I don't listen to them because I want to experience it fully myself, just based on the description. So I am going to give you a little bit of the description, and I'm going to give you little bits of information and no spoilers here. So you can feel safe that you're going to experience the book pretty blind, as it is no more than what you would read on the back of the book. I just wanted to let you know why I picked it up, which I've already said, and what made me rate it as something that I would recommend, for others to read. And one of the things that I love about historical fiction, and this one did it very well, was I love when I read a historical fiction and it takes you in and makes you so curious about things. So I just go down rabbit holes looking up information. The story is it follows three protagonists. So we've got Ophelia. Is it Ophelia? I'm sorry, I'm already screwing the names up. Three, girl 1, 2, and 3. Othello. Othello is one. We have Vivian Jean, and we have Zinzi. And they're very different, distinct personalities with their own, I don't want to say issues, but their own stories that you get to see unfold in the story. This book is a historical fiction based off Katherine Dunham, who was a famous choreographer, dancer, anthropologist, social activist. And it was, the author, I think, was inspired by Miss Dunham had gotten a grant to travel to several Caribbean countries to explore and learn about African dance there and how it was how it was appreciated in those islands, and so she could basically kind of do a what they think they call it ethno field work, like a study that she could kind of bring back some of those elements into the dance in the American dance realm. And so I thought it was kind of brilliant. Is this the way that, to get this story, what led the inspiration for it, but also what kind of gives you the framework for it. So when in actuality, Catherine Denham was awarded this, I guess you want to call it a grant, so she could do this study. And she went to 4 Caribbean countries. It was Jamaica, Haiti, Martinique, and Trinidad. This book only focuses on America and Jamaica. So we start in America and then we go to Jamaica. And using this as the framework and the driver of the story was very clever because it enabled the book to lay out throughout, sprinkled very nicely in their historical facts. I love that she did a lot of name dropping in there. Josephine Baker was in there. There was a bunch of different names that were dropped throughout the book that just gave you kind of also time perspective too. So that was really fun. So Othello, I'll give you a little description of the 3 protagonists. So Othello was poor orphan, and she had developed a very handy skill of being very nimble at pickpocketing, and so she utilized that to make a living. And so we get a good dose of her. I have to say too, the other thing I loved about this book is that it drew me in from the very beginning. It was almost like I was like, this is a historical fiction, but it's almost a historical mystery because I'm like, what is the story with these women? And when we start with Othello, I'm like, okay, what's going on here? So we follow her, and she has a secret. Each woman has a secret, and the book does a great job of exploring how these secrets shape their experiences, their interactions with others, their view of themselves, and you get to see an evolution of these secrets as well. I think I'm saying that how I want to because I'm trying to be very careful. So then we have Vivian Jean, and Vivian Jean is she's an anthropologist, but kind of a socialite. She's coming for money. She's married to I believe the family has money as well. And she's got her own, personal secrets that, at first I didn't understand what was going, what is this? But as you keep reading, you find out what her secret is. She's really close to Catherine in the book. These 2 characters, these protagonists, the 3 of them are not people that were there at all. These are fictional characters that she had made up for this story. But in the story, Vivian Jean was very close with Catherine, and she brought her along so that she could help her with this field work. So she kind of hired a team to help her be able to collect information about the African dance in the Caribbean, right? So Vivian Jean was one of those people that she had, plans to bring with her. And then when we get to Jamaica, we meet Zinzi, and she is just full of spunk, energy, sass, I guess, what I would describe a little bit. Her character has her own secrets and her own things that she's trying to work through. And she is the connection to help this expedition get from, I think they arrive in Kingston, I think so. And then she's going to help them go to, what is the name of the place? I'm blanking out. Cockpit Country. Okay, so the driving force that when they're trying to get there is Catherine is trying to learn about the Maroon people, the Jamaican Maroon people and the community, which is actually a group of people that existed in history. And I was going to read you a little bit about them because I think it's really important for people that are not aware of them. I read a book a long time ago that was like a brief history of Jamaica, and that's how I learned about them. But it was also a brief subject in that book. So when it came up in here, again, this is what I say about loving historical fictions. It just tickled that fancy again. I'm like, oh, I remember reading about them. What else can I get out of this? What else do they know now? What else is there for me to read about it? So it led me to do a lot of looking online to find stuff and to see if I could find out more. But Zinzi's character is from this cockpit county, and she is a descendant of the Maroon people. Sorry, from the Moors, Maroon people. And one of her issues, that's not really much of a spoiler, is that she's also working with trying to uh, get that word, Belinda, to figure out how to be able to be comfortable with her being who she is, living in the more modern and a different society in Kingston and the other parts of Jamaica. Because the Maroon people fought with the British and the Spanish for their independence, and they formed their own community that's self-governing. And they're this cock. I think it's a Pung is the name of the other people that they were talking about. But the region that they are in, Jamaica, is very mountainous and very treacherous. And so it was easy for them to be able to get into this area and to kind of stay safe. People couldn't just kind of attack you really easily. It's very hard to get around there and you have to know. So in the book, Zinzi knows her way. She kind of is like their guide to get them to this village so that they can learn more about the African dance there, because these people are enslaved people that are direct African descent, and so what better place to learn about that? So her character, has some very interesting, because her mother still lives in a cockpit country, and she really wants to. She's just trying to figure out how to basically kind of balance, that, because there's a pull. Her mom wants her there, but she wants to live in other parts of Jamaica, and the book also brings in the labor union strike in Jamaica and talks about import export stuff and things like that and other stuff that was going on in Jamaica. So it's really really good. But let me tell you what I wrote a little bit of here. Yeah, I definitely did a lot of like research looking into the Maroon culture, and I think if I have it, yeah, here we go. So in here in a good old Wikipedia, it says Jamaican Maroons are a group descended from the indigenous Arawakan peoples of the Caribbean who mixed with African, who freed themselves from slavery in the colony of Jamaica and established communities of free black people in the island's mountainous interior, primarily in the eastern parishes. Arawaks fleeing the Incomedia system and Incomedian. No, that's not what it is. Let me see. Incomedienda system. Oh my gosh. Um, Systems and Africans who were already in Jamaica during Spanish rule over Jamaica in 1493 to 1655 may have been the first to develop such refugee communities. So they had, there's a neat curiosity to find out, because they're like a country within a country almost, so they were living under the different governing rules and stuff like that. So when they go to this area, they're giving you some of the ideas of what it looks like. I do think that this book did a great job of making you feel really immersed, and like she was very descriptive about you know the ambiance and the sounds and the scents and the food and the music, and I thought that was really really good in this book. I highlighted like crazy on my Kindle, so many things in here, so many things that I wanted to look up afterwards, because I was like, oh, I've got to check this out and find out what this is about. And I also I found out that Catherine Dunham wrote several books. I think I have that in here as well. Um, she wrote several books after her travels, her actual real travels. And at the end of the book, it gives you a list of those books, resources. One was called Journey to a Kompong. Um, and then she had some news articles. She had some articles she did for the British newspapers and London Times. And then A Touch of Innocence is another one by her. Dances of Haiti, Island Possessed by Catherine Dunham, and The Colonial Caribbean in Transition. I guess that one she was in collaboration with some other people for that. So, or no, actually, that one is not her. That was somebody different. That one is by Bridget. But it's really, really good. I mean, I fully highlighted her notes. I liked it. I really love when authors do an author's note at the end. She did an author's note, and then she did historical facts and figures, and she wanted to like basically let you know who was the fictional people and who were the people in the book that were real. From beginning to end, it was a great book, but the ending was definitely very, very engaging. So, and that's not a spoiler. It just was really, I was like, oh my God, what's going to happen? So I would definitely recommend a read of this book. I hope I gave it some justice with my descriptions. I found it to be motivating. Like when I put my review in my actual book journal, I'm actually going to include some of the information about the Maroon people, and some of the other things that I had read in there that I thought would be really cool to remember when I look back at reading this. And I just love books that do that. I think that she created a really interesting story, while still sprinkling in all those little facts for you to read. So let me know if you do think you're going to pick it up, and then let me know if you read it and if you like it. But it is out today because I made it in time. I didn't get it changed. I actually am dressed like this because with a wrinkly shirt, because I went to clean the cars today. We waited literally overnight for our contractor to come and plow, but then I had to go today to clean off the cars and stuff. And it's so much snow. We got so much snow. I don't know where we're gonna put it. If any more snow comes, what to do. We actually have another storm that's supposed to come tomorrow to bring 3 to 4 more inches. Again, not sure where it's going because like I'm only so high to throw it, and there's just huge mounds. Like to get from my house to my car, it's now becoming a tunnel again to get to the car. So it's insane. But we're at the end of February and we are getting ready to go into March. So I say if we can hang in a couple more weeks, we should be getting closer to that springish weather, right? But let me know if you're interested in this book. It's a really good book. It's again out today in the stores. I'll leave a link to the information down below to my blog, so you can check that out because I always write a little bit more than I say, I think. Anyway, but I look forward to talking to you guys again soon about my March plans for reading, my wrapping read up for this month, and talking about the different books and the book options and stuff for this month. So I will talk to you guys very soon. And I have to get over this lovely Ella down here. I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.